Dennis.
This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Marion County Commission special meeting, December 30, 2020, 2 p.m. Sparks payment approval. Everybody had a chance to check out the warrants. Should be two of them, one for fire district number 5 and one for risk management. Totaling $113,813.13. Make a motion to approve. I'll second. Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, want to sign the book?
I'll sign the book.
All right.
Yeah, Ben?
Yeah, I think, yeah. That's pretty heavy now.
Getting heavier.
Yeah, one more minute tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Make motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. We're now adjourned.
Okay.
It would make the record for the
I
shortest
think
meeting.
that might be the shortest one, 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright. December 31st, 9 a.m. Commission meeting. Administrative business.
I think I put it on the table for you because I didn't get it in the packets in time, but we do have the sales tax numbers. And the last 2 months, we had picked up the wrong total on the sheet, so that had been misstated previously. So you have corrected numbers for October and November. And so October was 73,196.07. November was 72,906.25. And then the current month's receipts are $70,000.24. Okay. And then you've got Randy's got the warrant book. And then the payroll is here. The grand total payday is $1,240,167.17, including payroll at $548,838.29.
You also have budgeting notes, is that what you want to talk about that?
I would like to do payday, and I do have budget notes to talk about before we do all the transfers, the year-end transfers and such, so.
Anybody got any concerns with any of the warrants?
We do have on the table, I did give you a Western Associates payable sheet there. And Alcon had no invoices this month. And if you have any questions or need to look at any invoices, let me know and I can pull those for you.
I'll make the motion to approve Western Associates, amount of $1,169.83.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain. Opposed?
Aye.
3, 1 abstention, 1 opposed. All right. Move on to the grand total payday.
I just had one comment.
Okay.
Yeah, talked to Tina a little bit about our tax sale and the amount of expense that goes into that. We generally do not make any money. Most of the time we lose money on these tax sales, and so that's just an area of concern going forward, to how to minimize our losses, or at least try to break even on these tax sales. I don't have the answer to that, but I think it's a discussion point of view, and at some point in time, of course, Tina's office would have the expenses, but we would have to get the income, total income off of that. So you can see exactly where we're at, at least going forward with tax sales, because it's something we have to deal with.
We've tried, Kent, both ways. We've tried raising up to, we raised the minimum bid up to, we went to 50 this year.
Sure.
I mean, we didn't, the sheriff just did it.
Yeah.
And it was a good deal. I didn't have no problem with that. But we tried raising it higher than that, you'll end up with a bunch of properties.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer is. I've never.
I know a lot of around, you look around the country, there's a lot of tax sale properties on the internet. Of course, they're getting more exposure, but you got more, you're gonna have more expense too, probably. But just some different, just a area of thought, I guess, is what I'm saying at this point.
I'd like to see what another county spends, because we spend an extravagant amount to get them searched, busted, and I don't understand it. If they go through Hannaford and come back as a clear title or something, I mean, they're supposed to be a clear title before they can go to the tax sale.
Well, the problem is if you do your title searches too early,
Yeah.
and then a whole year passes until you have the sale.
Yeah.
You don't know what's come up between now and then. So then you're doubling up on title work again.
I left my bag at home this morning, but in there, I went through it last night, and it was the letter, the sheet that was handed out to us at the tax sale to, you know, and it says, this is not a clear title, this is not anything, you are responsible for that right on that sheet. And
Well, some of them oil leases have been plugged. They didn't sell, but
You know, I just don't know
that's a
how
good
you.
thing. that they
And I'm
didn't
thinking
sell.
in the way of property, I'm not thinking in the way of, but there's a lot of mineral rights,
Yeah.
things like that, that's up there too, you know, that goes for sale, so,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know,
I just think we have to look for some efficiencies there, because you can't do title work on December 1st and then have your tax sale December 1st of the following year.
Right.
You're gonna run into problems big time. You've gotta get your title, I think you gotta have your title work done within 90 days no later than 90 days of the sale, to keep from these other things filling in during the year. Because you don't know what kind of liens are gonna pop up, you know, it's more than just tax.
So, is there any other issues with the grand total payday? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve grand total payday in the amount of $1,240,000 $167.17.
Second.
Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
We're gonna start this around, undo the year 2020, Dave. We're gonna go backwards and undo 2020 and make sure 2021 gets off to a good start here. Okay. All right.
We do have some change orders.
So,
And here's mail, which I can start that direction.
just empty lots.
Yeah, we'll,
Saves a bunch of lots in there.
yeah, about 56 cents a piece produced.
It's what?
About 56 cents a piece on average.
We lost money on that deal, on labor.
No, you're gonna take away all the taxes off of that.
Should, but
But these are lots for sale. They've been there for a long time. I mean, this land bank, I don't know that's, I don't know.
Are they gonna have,
So they sell it,
Better.
so they sell it for $10,000 each one of these, or 20. Does the county get any tax off of that?
Future.
Once,
I'm just asking.
once the lots are sold out of the land bank or transferred out of the land bank, they go back on the tax.
They go back on the tax
Yes.
rolls.
It's just while they're while the city
Just hold it.
has ownership.
didn't realize they had that many lots in there.
yeah.
But yet, a private person can't do this.
Right.
So, if any one of us want to buy a piece of property for future sales, we got to pay the taxes on it, and the city don't. If the news media wants to pick up on something, they ought to pick up on things like that. I mean, that's just, it's just not, I thought the land bank had a different use for some of this on these. I mean, I don't follow all the land bank rules. If you use it for, when you get distressed properties and things like that, I can understand, you know.
Well, if they have the ability to market them better, might be able to get them back on the tax roll quicker.
And it could be,
Yeah, they're used for development too,
Yeah.
a lot of times, so. Still, it might not be a bad idea for the county to do a land bank because we have properties that the county owns that we're paying taxes on.
yeah, yep.
So, because we've gotten them back.
Yeah, nobody wants them.
And so that's the way to not have to pay those, is to put them in there. Then you can, it is easier to convey out of a land bank.
Yeah.
There are less requirements.
Yes, that part of it is true, I agree with that.
And,
Just circles back around, right? There's just
yeah.
extra paper.
Right.
The city has to pay taxes on anything that they don't use. When you're a city, you have to pay taxes on anything you don't use for, like, parks, functions and things like that. So you have to pay taxes on that stuff.
Sorry.
That keeps the city from going out and buying a lot of properties. One of them, for instance, is a cemetery there in district. We bought 33 acres. We have to pay tax on that. So maybe we ought to apply for a land bank on that, so the cemetery can pay taxes on
I don't believe a cemetery district can do a land bank.
it. Well, I'm just, it's still,
You don't know.
You're thinking outside the box.
yeah, I mean, what's.
So you
Washington?
can't apply for an exemption on the property because you're not using it for
I don't
the
think so.
function
I
of the
think
cemetery?
Under the tax laws, that's why we have to pay tax on it. See, this is City of Hillsborough, for another, with all of those land banks, City of Hillsborough, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Sweet, my wife used to build your new house. Got lots of lots.
If we put our properties in a land bank, do we have to have a tax sale? Can we just mark them as we please?
It depends on the situation. If you have somebody that deeds the property to the land bank, then you do not have to have a tax sale. So if there's someone behind and they don't want to catch it up, they could have the option of deeding it to the land bank instead of us having to go through the process of the tax sale, I believe.
Well,
That'd be some good questions for Brad, but I think that's the way it works.
potentially going down the road might save us a little money.
It could.
Yeah, and it would give you potentially the opportunity to be able to market or to develop or demolish, or, you know, if you had a whole bunch of derelict properties in the land bank, you may be able to do a large project to, and get some grant funding maybe to help.
Yeah.
And a whole lot more Hillsborough properties.
And they just started their run.
That must go way west to all those lots.
Well, no, those, you're on a different development now. I am Hillsborough Heights,
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
which
the
is over by.
Willow Glen, does that go way west?
It's all the way south, south side of town.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then it goes west.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
the empty lots.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to have our legal authority look into this and just make sure that all these properties are, fit what this tax deduction.
Do that Monday.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, I can do that Monday, yeah. Because,
Yeah, these are all.
Yeah, we spent 500 hours of paperwork here
well,
in the courthouse.
I just wanna make it fair for the taxpayers. That's,
Now we're out in the industrial area.
yeah. I'll do it Monday. I rescind my motion till Monday.
Make sure you don't.
We'll sign it.
They're all commercial lots.
Vacant?
Yeah.
But see, now like, the city of Hillsborough used the MPI building, that's part of the building, part of their operations. However, they do rent some of it, so there should be some tax on some of that. Maybe there is, I don't know.
It falls into it, I can't remember what they call it.
Gray area.
TIF district.
What?
Is that the TIF district?
TIF district.
Yeah, they do have some, they have the TIF district one, yes.
So on a commercial lot, can an individual buy that then?
Yeah.
Without a business plan?
No.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, buy it, but you have to do something within 2 years.
Okay.
Otherwise it gets, the first right of refusal goes back. At least that's what the rule was way back when I bought mine. I had a plan though.
Yeah.
There was no time wasted.
Really?
And it's a shame that when somebody does make an investment like the city of Hillsborough has done, if the taxes ate them up. You know, I mean, there could be some reasons where, no, it's not, I mean, just taxes is taxes. Somebody has any more?
Oh, wait.
Okay. Of the minutes of December 28th and December 30th.
Everybody read the minutes of 28? I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Of December 28th. Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Make a motion to approve the minutes of 12:30.
Second.
Second by Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Sorry.
It's all right.
Meeting adjourned at 2:02.
Okay. We have checks outstanding more than 2 years. And so there's a request for those checks to be written off effective today, and the total amount is $767.04. And I don't believe this got into your packet, so I do have the sheet if you want to look at them. If you need me to, I can make copies.
You named it, Shamil?
No.
Already seen that. Yeah. Thanks to both of us.
Spice things up a bit. Last day of the year.
I like the Verizon, our account's all right, even though they didn't cash the check.
We had to reissue checks to
Oh, okay.
Verizon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got lost in the mail.
apparently.
Yeah. We had that happen. If it's a customer tells us.
You wanna see people on here you know?
Nobody has any problem, I'd make a motion that we write off the amount of $767.04.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion by Randy, second by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have the lease purchase document in your packet. nice and big here, because it was really hard to read there, but, we would need a motion to approve the lease agreement and authorize the chairman to sign. And if you wanna look at the paperwork, I didn't put any stickies on it, Joe, so I'm gonna have to look, if you want to.
I'll just have to review this here, it's in color. That's all.
I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement and authorize the chairman to sign.
For 5 years?
Yes.
For 5 years.
Yeah, I think this all
He's
shows
got the paper copy there.
5 annual payments.
Okay.
31,000.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Oh, Dave did.
Dave, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
There's more than one place to sign. I believe.
Washington's got a writer's cramp already, so why not?
I'm checking,
I know.
checking.
Chairman's encumbering himself.
Okay, on the next one here. 2, 3. You gonna have to acknowledge pages, or do I need to initial those? Down here.
I don't know, Jim, I'll have to look.
Initial each page,
Right.
put your X.
I'll see that. No, it's
Make
reading
it
it
worse.
again.
It's done here. I thought it was gonna get
I
there.
thought it was just your hand cramping up.
No. I was trying to shake it, get more ink down there. Oops. I gotta run up here. Just clear out.
They'll throw in the trash cans, they're gonna use it.
You'll do that.
I hate people that put it back in the.
I'm gonna have to dig that back out of the trash and take it to your shop and set it in your
Yeah.
desk drawer. All right. Encumbrances.
Yes, and I put the encumbrances on the table there for you. We were still working on them after the packets went out.
So we have a total of $162,783.08.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the total encumbrances.
Second.
Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. And we have.
That Stanfield
Transfers.
working on the park fund, is that the only one that's not, we don't have to hold money back for it this year? I mean, not all the projects that they.
No, there's two there for Stanfield. One's on the road and bridge, in the road and bridge area for 58,000. One's 71791. So basically on that, we paid the half down. We do have payment performance bonds on all those contracts, and they have not started the work yet.
Okay.
So the amount we're encumbering has already been approved for payment, but it is the second half of the, which we'll pay when they're finished.
Okay.
And then we will receive insurance proceeds for a portion of that, I think 46,000 from K Camp, once the repairs are finished. So, which will credit back to, probably to Road and Bridge actually, because that was the building that they approved a payment on, was the shop.
We do have payment performance bonds?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I did check this morning that the project has not started, so, but we just approved the contracts on the 7th of December.
Yeah.
And it's not great weather for
Yeah.
roofing at the moment.
And yeah, I just wondered if we was paying it out all out of this year, or just, you know, if there's
Yes.
some not done, is it gonna be paid out next year?
As long as, so when we do the encumbrances, we have set a limit of February 28th of the time when the encumbrances have to be used or canceled. And so,
So cash forward until February?
yes, so if it's not done by February 28th, then we'll cancel it and it'll go out of the 2021 budget. So, and the reason that we chose that cutoff date, it's been a few years back, was because we had some departments that kept things encumbered for 5-6 months and didn't do their projects, and we have to prepare the financial statements and have them audited, and you cannot do that if you have those encumbrances still outstanding. It doesn't make good sense to do that, so.
If they get it prettier.
No. So, anyway, that's the reason behind that deadline. Okay. And it's been some time. So yesterday, we worked really hard to try to get all the daily receipts caught up to, that the treasurer had, you know, the treasurer did some extra more, and we got everything matching up with them up until the 21st of December, and then I don't have any more envelopes after that day. So that's the income and expenses that the treasurer's handling every day. And then we pulled in all our year-end expenses, payroll, payables. So I've got as close a picture right now of the actual budget as I can get at this moment. And so that's what I spent the extra time working on, trying to get all that done. Ran some reports last night just to see where we are in some of our funds. And so I've made up a little sheet of some budget notes. We have several year-end transfers that are budgeted that we should try to do today, but they're, I did want to kind of make you aware of some different things in the budget that are we're good cash-wise, but our budget authority, because we've had some extra spending this year due to COVID, will still be good once we have Spark reallocated back in, but without any budget credits right now, there's a few places that need to be reallocated. And so one big thing, so looking at Road and Bridge budget, we spent a lot more on rock than we budgeted, but we spent less in other areas, particularly fuel and some projects and different things. And so surprisingly, overall, the Road and Bridge budget is not in terrible shape going to the end of the year. Now, there is something, though, in the general fund. There's a Road and Bridge sales tax line item. It's in the general fund. And generally, we buy cold mix out of that. But we only had $239,373 budgeted. And cold mix that was purchased was $737. So that line item in the general fund was overspent by almost $500,000. And so that actually needs to be reclassified. It either needs to go out of Road and Bridge, which is what we usually do, or to capital improvement. And because the Road and Bridge budget is already as tight as it should be, I would recommend that we reclassify that Road and Bridge cold mix to come out of that asphalt in capital improvement, yeah, because we have $5 million there for roads. So I'm just gonna kind of go through these points, and then if you have questions, just.
Should we go ahead and approve them as you go, though?
No, well, no, I don't think so. E911, we only budgeted $69,000 of expenses out of E911, and they spent $115,725. That fund is completely funded by, it's not by tax dollars, it's just by the 911 service fees. And I'm not sure why we had so many expenses there this time. There's a whole bunch of really high maintenance contracts, and some of them look like maybe we paid more than one within the same calendar year. So that budget, when we go into budget time, really needs to be looked at a little closer to make sure that we budget enough to cover their expenses. And if I'm hoping that this level of spending is not, gonna be maintained, because if it is, we're gonna, I don't know if we have the ability even to increase 911 fees, because that's not covering the amount of the expense. So that difference is, and that is something that we haven't had a very good handle of in our office. That's handled by a different department, and there's specific rules about what can be paid and what can't. And so that's something that we've never really been involved in. But I'm thinking that some of those larger expenses, we still have jail sales tax money. We've got about $68,000 left in the residual jail sales tax that could pay those expenses this year. And then I think we need to really look at it next year. They have cash to cover it in the E911 fund, but the way the budget was prepared, we don't have a budget authority by law to spend that much out of this fund this year.
Did you look back, see what our budget had been set at, whether this was bigger than
They've kind of kept it the same. I didn't,
Yeah.
it was pretty late when I was working on this, so I didn't go back and look at a history, but I think that's a good next step, is to kind of look year by year what the budget has been, what the expenses have been, and see what we can figure out on that.
Did we update a lot this year or something?
Oh, I'm a little hesitant on jail sales tax, because that was put there for the building. That's what we collected it for.
Well, the only other option is to pull it from the general fund.
I know
That's your
that,
only
and
other
I
option.
understand that, and I understand we got 60-some thousand left in that way.
Yep.
60-some thousand.
It's been going steadily down because there've
Yes.
been some big projects done for the jail.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, I've noticed that month by month, we've had some pretty big expenses in that 911.
yes, we have.
I think it'd be good to have the sheriff come over and just say, okay, we know where we're at going forward on this, because we've got to get a handle on this budget.
Well, that's a good idea to look at it,
Yeah.
but we also are gonna have to reclassify some of these expenses.
Yeah.
We have to make a decision on
Yeah,
that
we have to
today.
fix that, but going forward, we need to, we as a commission need to know, okay, we're in good shape now, we got through all of these,
Right,
whatever we have,
upgrades or-
upgrades,
mhm.
additions,
And
all this.
I don't know how many of those are continuing
Well,
fees.
some of them are,
Mhm.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Those are in some of the annual contracts, and they never stay the same. Those go up.
No,
Yeah.
true.
But I ran a detailed report of that fund last night, and I kind of noted some items that are kind of large ticket items that I'm going to, if you were all okay with it, check to see if they would be a qualifying expense to pay out of that jail sales tax. Because at this point, we could even move that jail sales tax money to the general fund, but we never have. We've just kept it there and used it on, we've had enough expenses with the building that we've just used it for that, so, and
Have
that's
we
the
used,
preference.
have we used quite a bit out of that
Yes,
for the building?
yes.
We had 100 some way up there. It was
Yes.
quite a bit.
Because I know
140.
besides, 911, they had all the air conditioning problems and all that stuff.
Yes, we
Yeah.
Did
used
that
it.
come out of there?
I believe so.
Yes, yes.
But anyway, that's just something to be really, we need to probably be doing some evaluation of that early in 2021, and then go into it at budget time with a little bit better idea of where we are, so. The next one, election fund, unfortunately, was over budget. You might remember that we purchased equipment in February for $26,000, and then we had a pandemic. Everything about the election was more expensive this year than ever before, and so I have about $25,049 that needs to be reclassified for the election fund, and a good portion of that could come out of risk management because it was pandemic related, if you're okay with that. Otherwise, it would have to come from the general fund, so. And then,
I don't have no problem with that, because we didn't know what was gonna happen as a risk.
Yeah. I was actually really thankful we did have the equipment, because with all the extra mail-in ballots, I don't know how we would have done it without the
I
equipment that we
totally
bought.
agree.
But it was just not the year that we were expecting. So, number 5 on the second page here, the transfer station. This is the building project, and I've been kind of tracking that with you, and that we know that the escrow fund, we paid the last payment, but the bank hasn't reimbursed us yet out of the escrow fund. But the escrow fund will be about, that building fund will be about 195,000 short, and we've kind of talked about this already. As I've looked at the transfer station's budget, it looks like they're actually going to be able to potentially cover about 140,000 of that shortage, which leaves 55,000 that we will have to reclassify to pay out of the general fund. And that was a known shortage that you were all aware of. So.
Yep.
Okay.
What kind of funds are you gonna, you say we can handle 140,000, does that drop us back to like 80,000 to start with for this
No.
2021?
No, I mean, and I'm talking budget authority. It'll use all the budget authority for the transfer station for this year, which is ending. And we start with new budget authority tomorrow. Okay? But the cash, I did look at their ending cash and what we are expecting on our budget as beginning cash for next year, and we're still right within that.
So your beginning cash is still,
Yes.
you're not cutting it?
No.
There's
not on
nothing
this
else
one.
we can do about that.
Right.
So, and I could, if it's a little, close, I could do a little more of the general
Okay.
fund. Okay. Yeah, good question. Just kind of as a note on number 6, that the general fund, we do have plenty of cash in there. It's just the budget authority. So the way we budgeted with the expenses that we had, the budget authority is tighter than usual. And we will have some budget credits when I reallocate the Spark money that we've gotten back. We've deposited it in risk management, but there'll be a journal transfer that we do to credit it back to some of the other departments, and some money will go to the general fund. Particularly emergency management spent way over on personnel because you added a person there, and that's all been reimbursed by Spark. That'll be in the general fund. So we will have some more monies coming in there. But if I don't do any budget credits at all, this is where our budget is right now. And so that might be a little bit confusing, but okay, so even if we reclassify the cold mix expense, if we actually do move that cold mix expense out of the general fund, we can still make our year-end transfers to capital improvement. And I know it kind of seems funny to take that expense away and then move the money over to that fund to pay that expense, but that's where it really truly should go and be paid from. We shouldn't be paying them out of the general fund if we don't have to, and it gives us a better trail. So anyway, what I'm trying to say in point 6 is that if we get rid of that cold mix expense out of the general fund, do our regular budgeted transfers to capital improvement, we still have enough money in budget authority in the general fund to cover the other shortages like an election, if we do it from the general fund, the transfer station, and even potentially the E911. If you don't want to do it out of the jail sales tax, we should be able to cover it out of the general fund. So that's good. I mean, we're really ending up in a better place than I thought we might be, but it's just that some of the expenses are going to have to be moved a little bit. And then the very last one, I do have a transfer from the general fund to risk management, and that one is 40,000. Oh, I didn't even put that on here. Oh no, that's because that wasn't an issue. We have a budgeted transfer of 40,295 or something close to that. Let me look for it.
Going to risk management.
To go to risk management. And the reason for that is, if you remember, when we prepared the budget, in order to capture the increased value under the tax lid, that money has to be put in risk management
That's
and used
required
for
transfer.
it's used for disaster relief. And so that's the only way we were allowed to increase that, to gain that increase on the budget. So that one does need to be done to be in compliance with the law. So it's 40,892. And that one, since we actually did have a declared disaster this year, we can actually spend it out of risk management. We don't just have to hold those disaster monies. So it's good that we were able to capture that.
General to the risk.
Yes. Okay, so, so those are just my notes of what I just looked at the budget last night when I was, after we rolled the expenses in. And then the actual list of budgeted transfers, I didn't give you a list, I just have the pages, so I'm gonna go over them all. And so the first one is the one we just talked about, from the general fund to risk management, and that's $40,892. There is a budgeted transfer from the weed department to noxious to the capital outlay, and that's $5,000. And that's an annual transfer, and there's plenty of money in the weed budget to cover that transfer, so I would recommend that we do that transfer. We have the budgeted transfers from the general fund, road and bridge, sales tax, and road maintenance. There's 7 mills that we put in the general fund that is supposed to be transferred into capital improvement every year. And last year, we didn't transfer all of it because we needed money in the general fund. This year, as long as we reclassify that expense that I've been talking about, the $500,000 expense, we have plenty of money and budget authority in the general fund to make this transfer to capital improvement. There's actually 2 of them. One is $93,542, and the other one is $327,397. So those are budgeted transfers. If you're good with doing those, I would recommend that we do that this year. And then the only other one is the transfer from the road and bridge fund to special equipment. And we have one transfer left that's budgeted this year in the amount of $133,333.32. And last year, we did not do all the transfers to special equipment. So the thing about this road and bridge transfer is the last note that I have here. Oh, it's actually it's on point. Number 1, I think. So we do have enough budget authority and cash in the road and bridge fund to make that transfer, but it would put their ending cash, Randy, like you were talking about earlier, lower by about $195,000 than what we would like to start next year's budget with. So you do have that consideration. Now, there is potential that we'll get FEMA money next year, which would bump our cash balance back up. I mean, it's likely that we probably will.
I think last year we thought we'd get FEMA money this year.
Yeah, but they've actually
So now we're another
got
year out.
meetings and they've got the documentation and everything now, so things have started moving on
We're
it.
getting closer.
Right, and then you also do, I'm just putting this in here, you do still have the pilot money that hasn't been used. If you wanted to put it to part of it to road and bridge, because road and bridge did have to make repairs and their budget did take a hit on that. If you wanted to do any of that to go to road and bridge, then they would have their beginning cash that they need for the budget next year and still be able to do the transfers. So those are just a few. That was a lot of stuff. But that was everything that I really wanted to make you aware of with the budget. Everything looks pretty good. Our employee benefits came out fine. That's another one we watch really close.
Okay, we have not received a second pilot payment.
No.
We've received one at
67, I think. Yeah.
So we haven't received the one for this year yet?
I have not seen it, no.
Didn't
But aren't you
the
guys
last one
doing?
come in like in a February?
It came in like in December, I think.
Okay.
Last
They're
Yeah.
supposed to come in December.
But I
When
don't,
it's contracted.
yeah, I do not have information that we've received it, but I can check with Janine to see if she's got it. If it did come in, it has not been by the 21st, because that's the last envelope I had. So, and I don't know if, because you are all still doing the negotiations, and that hasn't been finished yet, if that's affecting it or where we are with that.
Does the commission never sat down and talked about general direction of that money. My personal thing is, I want to see a building over there. I want some of that pilot payment to go toward some of it. I don't want it all. I just want some of it to go over there if we're gonna set and do that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just build a building right over there in that empty lot for
We need to talk about storage.
storage and stuff like that, and do that. I thought maybe 100,000, if we start getting up 200,000 a year, maybe 75 to 100,000 could be put back for some sort of savings to go towards that. But there's always other hotter fires and everything else that we deal with, so.
And I'm not really suggesting necessarily that you use that
No.
money for this. I
No,
just want you to, be aware that,
I just thought Brad was talking about there might be a pilot payment coming, but I don't remember why.
I can check with the treasurer's office real quick
Why I
to see
thought
if.
that there was something coming, 'cause
I'm sure, I know we discussed when or if,
yeah,
but I don't know that we've ever
Never
confirmed
said.
that anything's come.
coming.
Yeah, because that's kind of iffy
That's
anyway.
probably where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing that I see that we need to really, like you just asked a while ago, I don't remember what the total was we had when they shut the money down, Kent, from tax, income, sales tax. I think it was 100 and some thousand, wasn't it?
It was, yes, as
And
well.
so I think we spent half of that money
I-
over towards the building already,
I
Kent.
think
Yeah.
maybe more. than
Maybe a little more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, yeah, the air conditioning itself
Yes.
was 50-some thousand.
Yeah, so, and that's what I expected, that's why I really wanted to put that back, just for that problem when they happen, is heating, air conditioning, whatever it may be. I don't know what else might happen over there. They had a tornado, of course, that should be, if a tornado blows, it did blow, the wind just blew some off of somewhere, oh, that was some other county, blew the whole unit off the top, air conditioning, heating. That kind of money comes in, you have to either go to risk management, or if we have it, that's what the taxpayers paid for, put it towards that building. That's my only thing, instead of using it for some of this stuff, so, that's a decision for the commission. I'm just giving you the viewpoints that I see. But if we have to pay this 46 somewhere else, out of,
It would have to be out of the general fund
Yeah.
only.
My biggest concern is keeping that general fund healthy.
yes. and
That's imperative.
Oops, this is what I was trying to do.
That's why I would agree with Tina's suggestion to forego that final budgeted transfer to special equipment. Last year, we looked at that, we thought maybe this year we'd get some FEMA money, and that didn't happen yet.
Yeah, like
We
I
don't know what
say,
what's gonna happen next year.
that's true. You do have enough money to do it and enough budget authority in Road and Bridge, but like I said, it puts us a little short on the beginning cash of where you wanna be
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and I do know that, it's nice to have cash put away for equipment,
Yeah.
especially in a high interest rate environment. Right now, we're in a low interest rate environment, and the lease purchases have made the most sense on the big ticket items. So I would agree with Tina's suggestion. And I can make that a motion.
And I'll second it.
I'll make a motion to forego the final budgeted transfer to special equipment fund.
I'll still second it.
Second by Donnie. Any other discussion about that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
okay. And I was trying to look to see real quick what the jail sales tax ended up. I'm still looking.
I'm trying to think, was that 2 years ago when it ended?
Time goes by pretty fast.
When we ended that tax, cut the tax off for the jail.
Yeah, it's going 2 years, I
Two
think.
or 3 years ago, and I just wondered how fast we were spending that 100 and some thousand down.
Another year it'll be gone
Yeah.
if they have more issues.
Yeah.
The last payment was, that we received for sales tax for the jail was August of 2018.
Yep.
And I'll still keep looking. I'll see if I
That's
can
all right.
find your
That's
number.
fine. That's fine. I remember it was, you know, it was 100-some thousand anyway, but there were more.
So, I guess go ahead and make a motion to approve the general fund to the risk management in the amount of $40,892.
Second?
Second by Ken. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The other one that's needs to be is noxious weed to noxious weed capital outlay of $5,000. Make that motion.
I'll make that. You made it? I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, hold on one second.
Moving too fast.
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 5-0. Next one is Road and Bridge Sales Tax to Capital Improvement Fund, in the amount of $93,542.32.
Before you do that one, could we just verify that the commission is okay with paying that cold mix out of capital improvement instead of the general fund? That $497 overage. Because if you don't do that, we're not gonna make this turn, we can't make this
Road and Bridge
transfer.
Sales Tax reclassified as capital improvement.
Yeah, I guess I just wanna make sure the board is okay with that reclassification.
Take your motion.
Yeah, I'm making a motion to reclassify the Road and Bridge Sales Tax as capital improvement in the amount of $497,660.40.
Second.
Second by Ken. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay. Go back to the Road and Bridge Sales Tax to capital improvement. Just doing that again, isn't it?
No, this is
This is in
actually,
addition
yeah, this
to-
was the expense.
Right.
We were reclassifying an expense.
Right.
Now we're moving money over.
Okay, and then the road maintenance,
That's the 7 mils. So
oh yeah,
all
7
of
mil
this
to the
is,
capital improvement fund, which is
right.
the normal transfer that we do.
That's right. So both of those on that sheet, on that letter, are the normal budgeted transfers.
Mhm.
And it's just basically moving those funds from the general fund to capital improvement.
Okay.
Just remember, we got a big project coming up
Yeah.
Right.
in this county,
We're not Indigo.
Nighthawk.
Nighthawk.
Nighthawk, and then a couple other little small roads. And I really want to, I want to revisit that before long. And if we spend this amount of money to build this base up, and we get a good base built up, if you remember, we've got a double layer of chip seal figured on that. And I'd like to either have some sort of plan, if we don't do it when it's just being done, that double chip seal is not gonna, it's, for three years from now, you need to redo it again.
Right.
Right.
So if we have that expense to redo it, to keep it up, maintain it, to hold that base, is it worth looking at doing some sort of asphalt? I know it's expensive, it's very expensive. But I don't want to lose the base project.
Well, yeah, you do all the work to get the base. So.
Yeah. So that's something that is going to be this commission's decision to look at, and I just want to bring it up again. Keep that in mind.
Yep,
That-
that'll be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, 3 years probably max.
Yeah, that would hold, and we don't want to lose it. You know what, or we're right back to where we got today.
Right.
So anyway, that's something that's why it was improvement going to the roads was pretty important. One of them. I mean, but we got other roads too. We got other roads to look at.
Cost of oil may be higher next year, based on what's doing right now. But we don't know what's gonna happen.
It was creeping up.
Nobody knows what's happening, it's gonna be like in a year from now.
Yeah. True.
All right, so that 7 mil to the capital improvement is $327,397. I'll go ahead and make a motion to do both those transfers to the capital improvement.
Second.
Second by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. We still need to iron out the E911 election.
Election,
Back to general.
if you're okay with me looking to see what can be pulled out of risk management and then the balance of the general on election.
Yes.
That'd probably be the best course if everyone's good with that.
Do those just need to be as directives, or do they need to be in motions? Or
You can do it however you choose. You've been doing motions for the
Yeah.
others, so if
Okay.
you want to do a motion, that's fine.
make a motion that we reclassify out of the election to risk management and the remainder to the general fund in the amount of $25,489.
Second.
Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Randy, I want to give you your number. I'll be right back.
That's it.
It's got just enough in it, it didn't tip over.
What happens to you if you don't get that monster drink?
Be a bear to put up with.
Turn into a monster.
I see.
Yeah. Really,
Anybody got any New Year's resolutions? I've got one to talk about drinks. I've been off Mountain Dew for 4 months or 5.
I noticed you haven't, that happened.
Yeah.
Lost weight then, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I don't know why.
Usually.
That's what I heard, but then anyway, and I don't like the taste of Mountain Dew. I tried just taste one the other day.
You kidding?
It just doesn't like taste of that. I don't know why. It's stupid. It's crazy.
Sorry, in 2019, we had 148,000. I had a spreadsheet where I tracked all that, and I'm pretty sure it was higher than that. I think it might have even been over 200,000 that we had left in.
Total when we started?
Yeah, and it's just, yes, but,
This is in the jail fund that we're
yeah.
talking about.
But I'll look for that and make sure.
So we dropped down to 80,000, 70,000.
Well, we now have about 68,000 in there, so.
We need to reclassify from the transfer station to the transfer station.
This is we made a special building fund,
Yeah.
and then, so we're reclassifying to pay out of the transfer station budget rather than the building fund.
Okay, so I would reclassify the transfer station building fund to transfer station.
That's right.
Okay. Just read funny.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
Reclassify 195,000, transfer station building fund to the transfer station at the amount of 140,000, and the remainder out of the general fund, 55,000.
I'll second.
Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Under protest.
How do you, an aye vote under protest? What?
Don't have an excuse. We don't mean, what else can we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, we didn't get, did we file that fees for the dirt stuff? Did we file that sheet?
Yeah.
What happens if some of that comes back?
Well, it'll add to our cash for next year.
Okay, for next year. Let's try.
Hopefully we'll get a little of it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that, we're working on that at the moment, so, yeah.
Okay. Last one for you. The E911 to the jail sales tax in the amount, reclassified in the amount of $46,725.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
You're reclassifying that, but where's the money coming from then? Just out of general?
Jail sales tax
Yes.
Yeah.
is what the motion was.
Yeah.
So that's the,
Negative. No.
Okay. 4-1.
okay. All right, is that all of them?
I believe so.
All right.
We
Yeah.
forgoed the one, so. Yep. Got the risk management.
Yes,
Look at that.
it's done. I've got this one. Okay.
Oh.
Sorry, I know that was a lot of information, but I was trying to make sure you had a good feel for where things were. I was trying to make sure I had a good feel for where things were too, because this year has been a little bit of a runaway, so. Okay. So I just wanted to mention, that since it's the last day of the year, that the federal COVID leave, that's the mandatory leave that we've been paying, according to the federal guidelines, actually the mandatory part of that goes away as of today. Now, there is the option that the employers can extend it if they want to through the end of March and pay according to the way we're paying now. Up to now, we've been receiving Spark reimbursements for the wages we paid for this leave. And because, and we also receive a credit, a reduction on the amount of FICA that we have to pay in. And so after the first of the year, it is no longer mandatory. Employers can still offer it if they want to. Employees that have already used their allocation do not get a new one for the first 3 months. But anyone who hasn't used it and gets sick or falls into one of those categories would still be allowed to have an allocation through March. We would not, and we would still get the tax credit, so the reduction in the FICA on that. Now, we won't have Spark money to pay it back, but, so I wanted to know what the board's wishes are. We have had quite a few employees that have had to use it, and I know that we have a lot that haven't, and so.
So if there's off in 14 days, is what you heard?
It's up to 14 days.
Up to 14 days.
Actually, it's up to 2 weeks. It's up to 80 hours, not 14 days.
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah, 2 weeks worth of pay.
2 week, yeah. It's 80 hours is the maximum. And then there is the family leave, which allows up to, I think it's 10 or 12 weeks for caring for their kids or people at home, and if the daycares and schools are closed.
If
So,
we had an employee
and that's,
go clear to the hospital and get off ventilator, that 12 weeks would kick in, then the 2 weeks, and then.
that's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then after that, would the 12 weeks kick in then? for everybody?
Not for themselves. It'd be if they had a
It's
family
a
member.
family medical.
Now, they would be able to go to FMLA, but then they would go into their regular sick leave or vacation or any leave that they have on the books, so if they have any. And some of this ESL, this emergency leave, is paid at 2/3 and some of it's paid at full under the federal guidelines. So, I mean, I don't know, if if you want a recommendation or not, but I'll just let it sit there.
I think we ought to continue it. I don't have a good, I mean, we got in private business and we're getting reimbursed partially
Right.
to help the employees. So if they are sick, they will stay home. If they come to work sick, that's gonna cause a whole bunch more problems.
Yeah. that-
So, and some of them think they have to come to work because they need the money. But me personally, want them to stay home if they even think they feel bad. So I think we ought to
Right.
keep offering it.
So we can extend that through March?
Yes.
At what kind of cost? We don't know.
We don't know, if nobody uses it.
I do know, I believe we do have at least one employee out sick. And, their time of being out is going to be past the beginning of the year, so they would have some, we already have one potentially impacted person that may have the leave to the end of the year, but then is still not gonna be back in time and would have to, you know. So I know we probably already have one, and there may be more than one. The way we're doing it is we have an application. They have to apply for the leave, and, so they would have to fill out a form and turn it into HR for us to put them on that kind of leave, so.
You gotta have a COVID test and a doctor's note.
I don't know that we're doing a test, but we do have to have some, we've been getting some
And if they
documentation.
get a test, you
Right.
need a copy of it.
Well, my reasoning that I would go for it would be is, we're at the highest we've ever been with COVID around, whether it's here, whether it's around the corner or whatever, we're at the highest. Hopefully it's coming down, looks like it has been lately.
Well, the general population's not gonna get vaccinated before
No,
late spring, early summer, the way they talk, and who knows, this.
It's just to protect the rest of us, so they don't come to work.
That's why I'm in favor of it. Encourage them to stay home when they're sick, whether it's a flu, whether it's COVID, whether it's
Yeah.
whatever.
We don't-
Stay home.
You don't wanna send the wrong message.
Yeah, so if you're gonna make that a motion, I'll second it.
Okay, could you please go ahead and state your motion?
I move that we extend COVID
March.
Emergency leave?
emergency leave till March 31st, 2021, for all county employees.
Okay.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
So I have FMLA.
Okay, I do have an FMLA application.
I will
The
go ahead-
employee is qualified.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the FMLA for a qualified employee.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, sir. Sorry.
No?
That's just the way it's gonna roll.
Okay. That's awesome. And I told a couple of you before the meeting, you had asked for some wage cost information. Because I was working on the year-end stuff, I do not have that today, but I will have it before Monday. So I've got a good start on it. It's just, I'm gonna need a few more hours to
No
get
problem, no
what
problem.
needs to be.
No problem.
Right.
Well, we didn't finish till this morning on other things. I think you should be able to go home. Is that all the administrative?
Yes, I think that was enough, don't you?
I do. And so, bring it into public comments if there's anybody. I haven't opened any of my.
There are no chat bubbles.
Okay.
I have one public comment that I said that I would correspond, so this is not a commission comment.
Okay.
She said, I can't get to the meeting, I can't get on Zoom.
Okay.
Still complaining about transfer station hours, thinks it needs to be 6 o'clock, and also complaining about the incline to the garage doors. People are having struggles with that. So I said I would bring that as a public comment for her.
There's only so much you can do.
I think this rain will help to settle the rope a little bit. You know,
And it's a
They'll
pretty,
make it
it's a pretty
harder.
good approach. There, you know, for farm guys and stuff that are used to doing that all day long, it's not a big deal, but, you know, maybe some of the elderly, I don't know. This didn't come from an elderly person, but just thought that was too much. Comment I said I would bring to her.
can't change it now.
And I do know that Josh is, you know, he's working with this schedule. And I was down there yesterday and I asked him how many people are so far coming in after hours, and he said anywhere from 2 to 3.
Well, what are the hours? Because I don't think that,
Well,
7 to 6.
He's
No,
never published the hours.
right, I
Hasn't
mean,
been anything on Facebook, the paper.
I think we
It's
need
word of
to,
mouth.
I need to know what they are so that we can get that information out.
5:30's been closed.
And we
I
need to
thought it
know
was
that.
carrying an extra hour after.
Yeah,
Or were they closing at 4:30?
Well, extra hour would be 5:30.
Okay.
They close at 4,
Oh, they closed at 4.
Hour and a half. I mean.
used to. See, nobody's told us what the hours.
So, you know, I know we can't
Okay.
fix the problem probably for every person in the county, but I told her I would bring that.
But it is 7 in the morning, right?
well, perhaps we should bring Josh in and you all could work together to actually set
Right.
a specific.
Yeah, we can address that
We need
again.
to send us a written letter of
Well,
the
he's-
hours.
Yeah, he's splitting his
It could
staff,
be
so
in
it's
the
just a
newspaper.
matter of splitting them a little more.
One thing we do need to encourage the public though, I guess over Christmas, there was a tremendous amount of trash piled up outside. And that was one of the reasons we had the issue with the last mishap with a skid steer.
Mhm.
But you know, when that trash is piled up out there and we're gonna be closed for a couple of days, one of those days it's liable to be blowing 40 mile an hour. It's just Kansas. And it creates a mess.
I see somebody left a couch and chair on Saturday.
Well, I mean, we can only do so much, but we know we need to encourage the public to utilize the hours. I know some of them want to get rid of it. I'm working on it now, but
Okay, any commissioner comments?
I think you did all read the letter that we got from KDHE, and I think it would be appropriate for us to recognize all of those that have been diligently working during the pandemic. Just some kind of acknowledgement, and you know that we think first of being the health department, but it's also affected other departments too. I mean, clerk's office, treasurer's office, you know, EMS and sheriff, and you know, there's been a lot of time spent, extra time. Of course, you know, I know the emphasis is on the health department because they've been the front line, but.
I don't know if everybody got that letter. Can I make a copy of it?
Sure.
Okay.
I didn't get one.
The,
Okay, they came, I
Oh, it came
didn't
to
see what
three
they
of us,
were.
three of us, I
Probably
think.
three of us.
You've got one too.
I got one.
But it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's always nice to get a pat on the back because it's stressful times. And I think all of us have seen across the state how many health officials have resigned.
Yeah, that's
It's been a bunch of them.
And it's not that we didn't do anything, I think we paid out the vacation that was gonna get lost. There was.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working with them. It's
Yeah.
just an acknowledgement, you know.
Yeah, you still gotta say
Thanks.
thank you face to face.
Thanks.
I mean, that goes a long ways.
Right.
You know, and it's been a stressful environment to be in. There's no doubt about that.
I just didn't want it to seem like we haven't been thankful. Our actions.
Public, it's just a public, you know. And that we can do that however the commission feels is appropriate.
The other day I was texted after Christmas, and I don't know who texted me. I think Johnny got it too, and I don't know if any director you got it or not. But it was a thank you to Josh at Hillsborough from their recycling day was on Thursday, and when we were shut down, I think. And anyway, they let Hillsborough come and put their trucks in, and that's what our department head, but I want to say thank you to Josh for doing that, because I didn't know nothing about it, but I think that's a thank you, because if Florence, Marion, or any of those work on a day that we're not open, I think they need to contact us and talk to Josh and see if there's a time that would possible we could open for the truck to come in and dump what they did the other day. So I just want to thank Josh for that, doing that. And then I've had some comments from outside people about Tina.
Oh, gosh.
And
Outside the county?
outside, no, inside the county, but they've had, through elections, they've had contacts with Tina, they've had stuff, and Tina, these people are just tickled to death with you sitting where in this position you're in.
Yeah, she got thrown to death.
And they really, they just wanted to say thank you. They didn't know how to, but they talked to me and asked, and I said, you know what, I'll just mention it, that they made it, and if they want to call you and tell you that, I wish they would, because I told a couple of them, I said, just call her and tell her thank you, because just what you said, a thank you is worth a bunch. And
Oh,
so,
well, that's so nice.
so anyway, from them,
Make sure you write that one in bold.
them to you, Tina, is they want to thank you for the job you do for the county. But I'd like to thank not only you, but like what he said, everybody this year, due to the employees, from the employees clear to us. I mean, we've done a few things extra, but we that's our job. And so I'd just like to say thank you to the whole county employee, everybody in the county. That we tried to do the best we could do, whether we did it the way some people wanted it to do or wanted us to do, but we tried. And I'd like to say thank you for everybody that helped us. So that's my ending statement for the year.
I would echo. Yeah, there's always room for improvement.
Oh, yeah.
2021, here we go. Anybody else?
That's for Dave.
All right.
I just
Make a-
agree with Randy, you know, that I think the whole system has stepped up.
Everybody's
Because it's
adapted.
been different this year. And to help everybody survive.
Joan was doing it first, sitting up there and talking to us, but then when I did it a few weeks up there, sitting at home over, it's not the same as being at the meeting, but I learned a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, you learn a lot sitting there. So,
No, it's definitely a little different, but it can all be done.
Paradigm shift.
So, all right. Well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Beat you there.
I was gonna say, I didn't see you lifting no pen, ink off the deal.
Yeah.